That's just who I am is a statement that every single one of us have heard in our life, either heard in our life or have said in our life, right? Every single one of us have said or heard, well, that's just who I am. That's a heavy statement, and it's a controversial statement, and I'm going to explain to you why. That's just who I am is a valid statement, right? It's a valid statement. This is who I am. That's just who I am. That's a valid statement, and it's an honest statement. And there actually is really nothing wrong with the statement, right? What makes it wrong is the context and what it involves, right? So what that means is if someone is exhibiting behaviors or patterns that are toxic or selfish or dysfunctional or manipulative or just all of the things that bring on negative things, right? When you're dealing with people who carry those traits, when they say things like, well, that's just who I am, that's someone who is not really open for change, right? That's somebody who's not really open to explore growth, not really in any way. Because someone who says, well, that's just who I am, they're basically saying there's no room for growth, right? When someone tells you, well, that's just who I am, that's basically saying, this is me, accept me for who I am, or move on with your life. So I'm very skeptical when I'm entering into relationships or friendships or whatever with people who constantly say that, right? Like, well, that's just who I am. Well, that's just who I am. And that's fine, right? People should always be who they are, because remember, you want people in their genuine, authentic selves anyway. You don't want someone in your life and in your space who can't give you that, right? So once again, when people say that to you, it's kind of like throwing the trash out itself, right? Because if that's something that someone is telling you, that means that they're not willing or open for change or for a shift or for improvement in their own lives, right? Because when you don't improve your own life, the lives around you don't improve either, meaning your relationship with those lives don't improve either. So it's so important to understand that. Like, be very conscious of people around you who say, well, that's just who I am. In theory, yes, that's just who you are, and that's valid. But